Hi, it's a quick video about the Glarry Kid Bass. The model name is actually Kid Bass because this is a 25.5 inch scale bass. Normal short scale is 30 inches. A few models are 28.6, so this is more than 3 inches shorter on the scale, nut to bridge. The body is also quite small. This is an Ibanez acoustic guitar for comparison. Okay, so this is a small bass. It's smaller than most guitars. Hey, if you're watching this, you might be shopping for the first bass to give to your kid. And I would say this particular one I'm holding, this one would be excellent. I have a teenager, loves playing this. I don't have to ask them to practice because it's so much fun to play. I like playing this one also. Okay. But that's because I put some serious work into this. As received, they opened up the box while I was at work. I came in the door and they told me it was cheap junk. That's what they said. Okay. So I asked them to be patient and let me do the work on it. Now that I've done all the work on it, it feels great. It sounds great. The tone's good. These are, the stock pickups, they go well with the scale, I'd say. So it's a good instrument now. So I'll give you a quick rundown of the work I had to do to make it a great instrument. So first off, back of the neck, it had rough spots. Your hand would hurt after 20 minutes of playing. I used 320 grit, take off all the rough spots, 1500 grit to make it perfectly smooth. Okay. This is now an excellent finish. Okay. That high grit sandpaper, I find that the automotive section of Walmart is where you find that. Okay. Fretboard, it was dusty and dirty. Dunlop 65. Every guitar store has that. Just some paper towels, Dunlop 65, cleaned up the fretboard. The bridge, it was not set up at all. And there was sawdust under the bridge, which kept it from laying all the way flat. So with the strings loose, I just undid the bridge, lifted it up, wiped sawdust out, screwed it back down, and then I was able to intonate it. Do a full setup on that. Pickups, the foam under them was just flat, so I had to add some foam under them so I could raise them up to normal height to increase output. I replaced the strings. This is the Dari XLs with a 0.095 E string, because you have to cut the strings down. The 0.095 does barely fit in the tuner. The untapered string barely fits in there. Yeah, so you can get them on. It could be a short scale set or a long scale set, they'll fit if they're light strings. I took the pickups and opened up the cavity, and I shielded underneath them with copper tape. Okay. Copper tape with conductive adhesive. This is $9 a roll on Amazon. I'm kind of slow at it. It took me 2 hours. Connected the cavities with a grounding wire and killed the noise. Some videos you'll see people when they turn on one pickup to get noise. That took care of the noise. Okay. On the fret ends, there were a few rough ends. I filed them off. Nothing was sharp. They weren't too bad. The one really big problem with the frets though, I did have a high fret. Fret number 2 was high. Okay. That was causing buzzing whenever I was playing fret 1, particularly the D string. So not a novice little thing to do on a guitar is taking down a fret a tiny bit. Okay, because if you mess that up, you mess up your whole neck. Okay, so but that was necessary. Replaced the nut. It came with a plastic nut that was too soft to plastic. First of all, the strings are too high, but you can file down that slots to lower strings. The plastic was too soft. Okay, a lot of other videos you watch, people talk about they plan on replacing tuners. Stock tuners are working perfectly fine once I replaced the nut. The nut was binding up strings and messing with tuning. Okay, it's 38 by 6 by 9 millimeter. It just takes patience if you've never done a bone nut before. You sand a little bit off, check it, sand a little bit off, check it. It takes quite a while. It took me an hour. Some people are probably faster. Okay. Take care of those. So neck is smooth now, frets are good. Strings are a better height. You can't take them as low as you can on a long scale because the tension is lower. So you just kind of take them down till plucking really hard will get you a little bit of clank, and then you stop at that point so you don't start making things buzz. Okay, so after all that work, it's a great instrument. Now, if you don't do guitars yourself, you haven't worked on them, so you'd be paying someone to do all that work, I'd say buy your kid an Ibanez Micro instead. Because if you add the cost of all that work on top of the bass, you've got enough money to just go buy an Ibanez Micro. Every one of those I picked up at a store has been great quality. They just needed tuning to be able to be playable. Okay. Ours, these need quite a bit more work. Though that being said, if you really, really want the shorter scale, the 25.5-inch scale, which is shorter than a Micro, then there are not other options out there at this scale. And so, yes, buy this bass, buy the Glarry Kid Bass, and do the work. I found a great deal on mine. I managed to get it off eBay for a little bit under $60. Glarry website often has sales to get one for like $90. So, I mean, I wasn't able to get the pink color off eBay, but I didn't want to pay extra to get it off the Glarry website. So, it's cheap to start with, but you got to put time into it. You got to put work into it. Now, the other audience I would really recommend this instrument to is if you are a guitar player who wants to get a bass guitar, to record some bass tracks for some music you're writing, or to fill in as bass player for your band. I would say this is probably the best bass for a guitar player. The reason being the 25.5-inch scale is the exact same scale as a Stratocaster guitar. So if you're hopping between your guitar and the bass, you don't have to adjust at all to the fret spacing. Okay. There's no adjustment on that. You just got to adjust to having the 4 strings instead of 6. So it's a really easy adjustment, very smooth hopping back and forth for a guitarist. And so saying that, I would say it would be worth it for a guitarist to put the time in to do the work themselves or pay someone to do the work to get this to a great playing instrument. Now, it being a really short scale, you aren't going to get high-end harmonics. It's not going to sound like a bright sounding full-scale bass, but it will do the low notes just fine. It sounds great. It does sound like a bass. It fits in the mix, and I really like it. So, if you got any questions about the work I did on this, put those in the comments. I'll be glad to answer those. I'm going to do a follow-up video about how to fit long scale strings on any bass, any long scale set on a short scale bass. After the parts come in, I'll do a video on that and show you how that's done.